Thank you all so much for coming out. We are taping this. Is great. So if you could all just shut up and then laugh, and then shut up and then laugh, and then you shut up and then you laugh. I'm married. My wife and I have been married for a couple years now. We don't have any children. We can't have kids because we're allergic. And filthy creatures, just filthy creatures, children, the dander, it's awful. A lot of our friends have kids, and it's, all of our friends' kids are like elementary school age now, and all of our friends are taking their kids to Disney World this year. And I know that they're all taking their kids to Disney World because they all post the same photo on social media. It's always the same thing. It's always like, it's them and their wife and their dumb kids with the stupid mouse hats, and they're all standing in front of the Disney castle, and they're all smiling as if they haven't been screaming at each other for the last 6 hours. And they all post that same photo on Facebook and Instagram. If you have a friend who does that, do this. It's so much fun. Just comment on that photo. If you see that, it's just them and their kids, the Disney castle, the whole thing. Just comment on that photo. Just write, oh, hey, cool. Where are you guys? They get so mad. They're just like, we're at Disney World. It's the happiest place on earth. I spent 6 months' salary getting down here. Just be like, oh, that's cool. Is that near Wildwood? Just play dumb. Play dumb. And they get so mad. My wife and I went to a wedding recently, and you have to do away with the cake cutting. The cake cutting is my least favorite part of any wedding reception. Because you're having fun, you're dancing, you're drinking, and then they put a stop to all of that. And they wheel out this cake, and then everybody stands around, and you have to pretend it's cute when the newlyweds feed each other that cake. You'd be like, oh, we got a little icing on our nose. You got a little frosting on his face. Ah, that's not entertainment, people, watching newlyweds feed each other cake. You know what would be entertaining? Watching a recently divorced couple feed each other cake. I'd pay to see that. That's what every divorce should be. Just gather everybody around, sign the final papers, and then, here you go, Kevin. It's catharsis. It's catharsis. My wife and I just bought our first house this past year, and yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, thank you. If you could all now just Venmo me $1,000 each right now, because we're poor. We got the house. It's great. My wife's very good with design and all, but she did most of it. Like, I still got my man cave, though. I love my man cave. I love my man cave. It's just a cave I found in the woods. A man lives in there. It's kind of cold this time of year, but we hang out. We live in South Philadelphia, and yeah, it's great. We love it. And everybody does it up for every holiday in our neighborhood. Decorates their house, Christmas, Valentine's Day, Easter, the whole thing. Halloween this year was wild. And we didn't want to be left out. We wanted to make sure we're pulling our weight and just decorating like everybody else. So we wanted to decorate for Halloween, and the one guy on our block had the scariest decoration. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen this from like Home Depot or whatever. It's the 12-foot skeleton. It's like a skeleton, it's like 12 feet tall, it's really scary. It was the scariest decoration on the block until we put up our decoration, which was a skeleton that was 5'4", the same height as the old lady who used to live in our house. That was the scariest decoration. Parents are like, kids, we're not trick-or-treating there. Come on, keep moving. Don't look. Don't make eye contact. I was walking down the street in South Philly the other day, and it's like row houses, and I was walking past this one house, and there is this tree in front of the one house, and hanging from the tree was this little birdhouse, tiny little birdhouse, and the birdhouse was painted to look exactly like the main house. It was a miniature version. It had the same door and the same windows. The shutters were painted the same color. It was an exact replica of the main house. And in the front window of the birdhouse was a tiny little sign that said, "Hate has no home here." There was no sign in the big house. That's an odd choice. There's hate in that home, apparently. But I was like, those are some pretty cool progressive birds. Like, you know that's not like woodpeckers living there. Like, woodpeckers are assholes. We know that. It's like a nice robin couple living together, or robin and a cardinal, you know, they just found out their son's a peacock. They're cool with it, you know what I mean? Like, good for them. Good for them. All right, I'll do another bird joke if you want. Let's do another bird joke. What if I just did an hour of bird jokes? That'd be, what is this guy doing? Wow, bird community. All right, good. I will say this. I'm an animal lover. I love animals more than people. I love animals. Having said that, we need to eliminate seagulls from the face of the earth. We need to wipe them off the earth. We need to destroy them. They're getting bigger. They're getting stronger. They're getting smarter. Our leaders are not talking about it. Seagulls taking over. When we were kids, seagulls were just these little birds flying around the beach. Now they're these like 40-pound sand turkeys walking around. Like, what's up? What's going on? Smoking cigs, looking at us. I don't like that vibe. Very intimidating. You go down to the Jersey Shore, every town in the Jersey Shore has their own breed of seagull too. I don't like that look. Like I have a friend, he's got a lot of money, he's got a place down in Avalon. This summer he was talking to me, he's like, oh, Chip, the other day a seagull took my funnel cake. I was like, dude, I was working in Atlantic City last week, 3 seagulls stole my catalytic converter. All right, it's a different bird. That is not the same, it's not the same type of bird right there. All right, third bird joke, because you asked for it. Keep doing it. You guys are gonna be so disappointed. This is my last one. I apologize. The rest of this is gonna be lackluster. Lackluster. People say that Alfred Hitchcock was the greatest director of all time. A genius. Every shot of every movie Alfred Hitchcock did was perfect. He was a genius. If Alfred Hitchcock was so perfect, then why in the movie The Birds was there not a single piece of bird shit in that entire town? If that was realistic, that town would have been caked in white. Not a speck. The main scene in the movie The Birds should be a guy coming out to his car and be like, oh, what the hell? You missed the bar. But I am an animal lover. My wife and I, we got animals. We got 2 cats and a dog at home. They're the best. We have Ernie and Gary, our cats. We have Franklin's our dog. Franklin's my guy. I love him. He's this little like Shih Tzu kind of poodle terrier. He's like a little silver guy. He's 20 pounds, but he thinks he's Rottweiler. He thinks he's tough. He's the best. We got worried about Franklin recently, though. We thought he was losing his vision. We thought he might be going blind because we would drop food on the floor. He wouldn't be able to find it. So we took him to the vet to get his annual checkup. We want to see if we get his eyes checked. But you know how you're an adult and you have to ask another adult a stupid question? I had to do this because we're at the vet and he's checking him out. And I had to say to the vet, I was like, excuse me, doctor, is there an eye test you can do for a dog? Because like, think about it. The dog can't read the chart. He's a dog. It's like Franklin can't get on one of those machines and be like, what's better, boy, 1 or 2? He don't know. But to my surprise and my delight, the doctor was like, no, there's an eye diagnostic test we can do for canines. I was like, oh, great. Do we have to make another appointment, go see a specialist? He's like, no, we can do it right here. Here's what the eye test is for a dog. If you don't know, it's a little high tech. Let me kind of walk you through it. My dog Franklin is sitting on the exam table, and the doctor reaches back and he grabs a handful of cotton balls. He's got a handful of cotton balls. And then what he did was he took the cotton balls and he whipped them at my dog's face. Just sidearm, a bunch of cotton balls at my dog. And my dog went like that. And the doctor, who went to medical school, looks me in the eyes and said, he's fine. $300 for that. This is my last comedy show ever. I'm gonna become a dog optometrist. Set up shop in Rittenhouse, charge rich people $300 a pop with cotton balls to their schnauzers. Be like, he's fine, $300. Oh, this one's got astigmatism. That's an extra 100. I have no idea. Sell them dog glasses for $50. My wife is a very healthy person. She's very healthy. We ordered pizza the other night because we can afford it. And And it was this new pizza place that we haven't been to, so we were looking online at the menu to see what all kind of pizzas they have, toppings. And my wife sees that they have spinach as a topping. She's like, oh my God, let's get spinach pizza. Let's get spinach pizza. I was like, oh my God, that sounds like so much fun. Let's get spinach pizza. And then after that, let's go down to the strip club and do our taxes. How about that? Just take all the joy out of that experience, too. I mean, it's not fun at all anymore. We'll make a night of it. It'll be great. We had a lot of friends move out to the suburbs during the pandemic. They bought houses out there. They got yards. And a bunch of my friends during the pandemic decided that they were going to grow a garden in their backyard. They're like, oh, we're going to grow a garden. We're going to grow a garden. And all of my friends, every single one of them were like, we're going to get closer to nature. We're going to get closer to nature. We're going to grow vegetables and flowers. We're going to get closer to nature. I've checked in on all of them. None of them have gotten closer to nature. The only difference is now they all just really hate rabbits. That's the only difference. They're just upset. They just stand at their back window like, I hate these rabbits! They keep eating my stuff! I was like, it's not the rabbits' fault. You're growing them a buffet. That'd be like me every night coming out to my stoop and setting out a plate of hot wings and a pitcher of beer and getting mad when Flyers fans keep showing up. Like, these fucking Flyers fans! We gotta stop it! It's not their fault. It's not their fault. You guys are drinking a little bit. That's good. I like to throw them back every once in a while, have a little cocktail or two. It's fun, but I will say this. I'm very jealous of wine drinkers. You wine drinkers, very jealous of you, because something has happened over the last decade or so where apparently you can drink wine as much as you want, as often as you want. And for some reason, it's adorable. Just drink it by the gallon and it's cute. Got all these friends who are like, drinking another Pinot tonight. Ah! Just finished the box, yay! You see wine drinkers, they even have like those like matching t-shirts with like cute little puns about how much wine they drink. Like it'll be a picture of a corkscrew and it's like, it's wine o'clock somewhere. Ah! Hit me, baby, one more wine. You're just a drunk. That's all that is. You're just an alcoholic with a t-shirt, but wine gets the pass for some reason. You can't do that with any other drink. I can't do that with my favorite beverage. Walk around with a cute t-shirt, little pun on it. Like walk around and it's just like, I can't drive with my kids in the car. It's too whiskey. Like, you're not allowed to do that. No, not allowed. It's like a picture of a needle, like, I'm heroin it to win it, yeah! Nope, no. Me and my gal pals are making a big mess. Like, you're not allowed to do it. I can just keep going all night. Tell you this, I've never done heroin. I mentioned that. I've never done it. Thank you. Yes, thank you. I will say this. I have never done heroin for the same reason I've never worn Crocs. Because I'm afraid I would love it. You know what I mean? And I'm not walking down that road. It seems like a comfortable road either way, but I'm not gonna do it. I will say this, I think champagne is overrated. Champagne, very overrated beverage. Here's the thing, let me let you know a little secret. Everybody thinks it's fancy. Champagne is just Sprite that gets you drunk. That's all it is. But we all think it's fancy, and I think it's because of the presentation. Comes out on the ice, and you pop it when it opens. That's always the big thing. And people are like, ooh, champagne. We just need to make other things that pop when you open it, and everything would seem fancy. Our lives would be amazing. Can you imagine that, just getting a bottle out, just being like, mustard. You're like, ooh. He put mustard on his turkey sandwich. He must be rich. I do like to have a couple of cocktails every once in a while. I don't like going out, though. I will say that. I don't like going out. I used to, but I'm just not into it anymore. And I appreciate you guys coming out. Like, they literally had to pay me to come here tonight. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm saying? And I appreciate you guys coming out. I don't like going out. Like, I feel like that's one of the upsides of prison. It's like you don't have to go anywhere. Like, I understand that the whole concept of prison is you're not allowed to go anywhere. But at the same time, you don't have to go anywhere. Like, there's never a scenario, it's like just a couple of guys out in the yard one day talking to you and your cellmate. Be like, what are you guys up to tonight? Be like, oh, we're just gonna stay in, I think. Sounds great. It seems so much fun. Heard somebody say the other day, this guy was like, I work hard and I play hard. I work hard and I play hard. And I was like, oh my God, sir, it's 2024. You don't have to do either of those things. I wish somebody would have told you earlier. You don't have to. You don't have to work hard or work hard. And like, if you want to work hard, that's great. That's wonderful, work hard. But if you're an adult man who says you play hard, that's just code. That's just two things. That just means you have a coke problem and you're mean to waitresses. That's all that is. That's all you're saying. I have a coke problem and I'm mean to waitresses. That's okay, you play hard. Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun to be you. We did some weird stuff though. During the pandemic, just to socialize during the pandemic is crazy. I don't think it sunk in what we did over those years. For example, right after the world shut down, April of 2020, my niece turned 9 years old. And she really wanted to have a birthday party, but we couldn't have like a regular inside party for her, so we had one of those drive-by parties. You guys remember the drive-by parties of 2020? If you don't remember, just picture a 9-year-old girl sitting alone in a driveway with a single balloon and a sign, all sad, just like, And then we just pulled our cars up, reverse parade style, and one by one, honked the horn, threw a present out the window, and drove off into the night. And I'll be honest with you, greatest family party I've ever been to. Best family party. 5 minutes in and out. No talking to weird uncles. No, how's the job going? Like to know that we need to learn from the pandemic. Keep the good things. That's what every family party should be from now on. Drive-by, whatever it is, birthdays, weddings, anniversaries, whatever the occasion, just honk honk, sorry for your loss, keep driving. He looks so natural, beep beep, you drive off. Right. I'm a big germaphobe. I was very nervous about the pandemic, big germaphobe. Always a big hand washer, and I can tell that the pandemic is over because none of you people are washing your hands anymore. I know it for a fact because during the pandemic, you go to any like bank or any building, they'd always have that big jug of hand sanitizer, and everybody's using it. Now I go in and I use it, and I can tell it hasn't been touched in a week because it grows that little film on top of the little spout, that little dry film. So then you push it down instead of like dropping in your hand, it just like shoots all over your face and chest. Like it's the bottle's birthday, and you're letting do it just this one time. I don't feel respected. I don't feel respected. It's not a good feeling. Just want to wash my hands. I loved being inside during the pandemic. I still think every January should just be like lockdown January. And we just Netflix, pajamas, come back in February ready to take on the world. It'd be great. My problem with the pandemic is that they just let us back out and didn't teach us how to talk to each other again. Because we were not ready. I'm socially awkward as it is. Then you put me in captivity for a year, and they're like, go talk to people. I was not prepared at all. Right after the world opened up about a year or so ago, I was walking down the street one day in South Philly, East Passyunk, just beautiful afternoon, minding my own business, walking down the sidewalk, and there's these two women walking towards me. You know how when people pass you on the sidewalk, you hear just a snippet of their conversation, just a little piece? And it wasn't like this woman said anything inherently funny, but it just kind of hit my ear kind of funny. You just hear a couple words, it just hit my ear funny. They must have been talking about going to a party. And as they're walking past me, I just heard the one woman say to the other one, she just goes, you gonna go? Like a real Philly accent. She's like, you gonna go? And it just hit my ear funny. So I'm walking past her, and I just hear her going, you gonna go? And then I go, you gonna go? And she heard me. I was close enough to give her COVID, and I forgot you're supposed to walk 10 steps before you make fun of her. So So it's just this poor woman going, "You gonna go?" And then me going, "You gonna go?" She like turns to me, she's like, "Are you making fun of me?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I am so sorry. I felt awful." But at the same time, screw her for eavesdropping on my private conversation with myself, where I'm mocking her. That's half her fault. I'm not taking the full blame on that. I'll tell you this story. I was watching the news with a buddy of mine the other day, because we're cool, and we're sitting there watching Action News, and there was a story on the news about this house fire. This building caught fire, and this guy, not a fireman, just a regular man, ran into this burning building and pulled somebody out and saved their life. And like, they're going on in the news about how this guy's a hero. And I was like, yeah, that's so cool. What a hero that guy is, pulling somebody out of a burning building. And the story's over, cut to commercial, and my buddy wouldn't let it go. He just keeps talking about how great this guy is. Oh my God, do you know how hard that is? He's got a hero. Do you know how hard that is, pulling somebody out of a burning building? You know how difficult it is? I was like, I don't know, slow down, buddy. I mean, it's not that hard, pulling somebody out of a burning building. I mean, it's not as hard as pulling somebody into a burning building. That's hard. Because they're fighting you. They're like, I don't want to go. And you're like, no, you're going. That takes strength. I'm not saying the guy's not a hero. I'm just saying it's not the hardest thing in the world to do. They're on your team on the way out. How you doing? Good? Good? Good. That's my crowd work portion of the show. That's all I do. That's another clip. I just did a crowd work clip. Clip that. As much crowd work I do, I just begrudgingly acknowledge people in the front row. Hi, how are you? Good. Hello. Doing my crowd work. I was in Indianapolis recently doing comedy, because I've made it! And Indianapolis. I drove there. When you drive to Indianapolis, it's like, you go across Pennsylvania, it's like 5 or 6 hours, and then you're in West Virginia for like 25 minutes, and then you get into Ohio for about 4 days. I don't know if you've ever driven through Ohio before. The state flag of Ohio should just be the picture of a tractor trailer slowly trying to pass another tractor trailer. 'Cause that's all Ohio is, apparently. People in Ohio, they're nice, but they're weird. It's just strange. They were just like Ohio State motto, if you've looked it up, is "Hey guys, wait up." Like that's, it's just a weird. And in Pennsylvania, we basically have like two neighbors, one on each side. We got New Jersey on one side, Ohio on the other. And New Jersey is like that neighbor that are just like loud assholes, but and they have like a pickup truck on the front lawn, but like they got a pool, so we go swimming and it's cool. You know what I mean? Ohio's that house on the other side that got like 4 homeschooled kids that never come outside. Like, I don't think I want to go over there. Strange. Tell you a little bit about my family. Listen, it's been a rough week. My grandmother broke her hip this week, and I hate to say it. It was her own fault. I mean, I called shotgun. Do you know what I mean? It's not very nice. That's not a nice thing to say. Made that up. I do have lots of nieces and nephews. I got nieces and nephews, and I've learned a lot about children from my nieces and nephews. I've learned this. I've learned that when it comes to fear, things we're afraid of, children and adults have a very different set of fears. Children, in general, are afraid of fantasy. We as adults, we're afraid of reality. Kids are afraid of like ghosts and monsters. We're afraid of real shit that can get us. And this became very apparent to me last summer. I was hanging out with my brother and sister-in-law. They live out towards like central Pennsylvania, like up north of Harrisburg, and it's like kind of in the middle of nowhere. And I was hanging out for the weekend, and the carnival came to town. The fair came to town. So I took my 8-year-old nephew to the carnival, and it's just Uncle Chip and the kid going on all the rides, having a great time. It's the end of the night. It's dark out. We're ready to go home, and my nephew wants to go in the haunted house. And it's this haunted house. It's called like Dracula's Castle. And you walk through, and there's all these guys dressed up like monsters. They jump out and scare you. And at one point, it got really real for my nephew. He's 8, right? And this guy dressed like a werewolf jumps out. It's like, rah! You know, he got so scared, he literally got down in the fetal position, started crying. And I was like, I gotta be the good uncle and get him out of there. I don't know what to do, what to say. So I was like, I guess I just have to level with him. And I was like, I get down to his level. I was like, buddy, there's nothing to be afraid of. That's not really a werewolf. Werewolves aren't real. This isn't even Dracula's castle. Think about it. This isn't a castle. We're not in a castle. We're just in the back of a dark tractor trailer filled with a bunch of carnival workers in masks chasing us around in a dark field in rural Pennsylvania at night. Let's get the hell out of here right now! This is the most scared I've ever been in my life. My nephew pulled me out, he made me feel safe. It felt good. I try to make people happy though. People do have tough jobs out there. It's tough out there. You see people always yelling at people. They're just doing their jobs. That's all you gotta do. I saw a guy, I was driving the other day, saw a guy driving a hearse. That's gotta be a tough job. Hearse driver, you gotta be sad and be around sad people all the time. You gotta wear that hat, be all solemn. Do this. If you ever see a guy driving a hearse, do what I did. My wife got kind of mad at me, but I wanted to make his day. We're driving, and I just got next to the hearse driver. We made eye contact. This is what you do. Just make eye contact as the hearse driver's driving, and just go like this. Just go. Like, he's not allowed to laugh, but he'll giggle a little bit. He'll make his day. Toot toot. I'm not good with money, I will say that. I wish I was better with money. I'm not. I don't spend a lot of money. I just don't know how to invest it. I don't know about 401ks, the stock market, anything like that. It's just, like, my biggest financial maneuver right now is that I wait until there's a thunderstorm, and then I check my online bank account and hope something weird happens. Like, that's just, oh, $20,000. Hasn't happened yet. I still try. Just as an illustration of how little I understand about economics, I will tell you this quick story. A couple years ago, my one nephew turned 5 years old. And for his 5th birthday party, my brother and sister-in-law took all of us to Chuck E. Cheese for the big Chuck E. Cheese birthday party. You guys know the Chuck E. Cheese party. The mouse comes out, they play skee-ball, they eat pizza, one of the kids pukes, and then they go home. Like, that's what happens. And since my nephew is turning 5, he's the birthday boy, so they put him in the cash grab machine. If you guys remember the cash grab machine, it looks like an old glass phone booth, and you stand inside, and these fans come on underneath, and these dollar bills start flapping all over. He's got 30 seconds to grab as many Chuck E. Cheese dollars as he can. But he's 5. He's this innocent little angel. And what do they do to him? They gather everybody around. They slap these safety goggles on his face. They throw him in this glass box and slam the door shut. Everyone he has ever met stands around the outside of the box and cheers like it's the Hunger Games. And these loud fans come on underneath him, and these dollar bills are flapping all over his face. He didn't try to grab them. He just stood there, horrified, and bawled his eyes out. And right there, that's my basic understanding of how the economy works. Like, there's money all around me. I know I'm supposed to get it. People want me to have it, but I don't know how, and I just get sad and I cry a lot. But you know what they say, ladies and gentlemen. You know what they say. Family first, right? Family first. Now that is how you do a murder-suicide. Am I right? Family first. Then you. Yeah, mix it up. Another one of my favorites. Probably won't make a special. It's an election year. I don't want to get into politics. I'm not going to get into it. The only thing I would say is this. is that we need to do it differently this year. I think we need to make a rule, that during election years, you are not allowed to wear like a shirt or a hat or like have a sign in your yard with your candidate's name anymore. Because it just reduces us to teams. It's like, I like that guy, I like that guy, I don't like you because you like him. We can't do that anymore. I think if you want to wear a political t-shirt, you should have to be more specific and list all of your political views. And you gotta be honest about it. But I think if you listed all your views, I think we would understand each other more and we'd get along better, you know? Like, it would just be like, some guy's wearing a shirt, he's like, I support my local police department, and I also donate to NPR. You're like, all right, that guy seems like, whatever. But you have to be honest, like mine would be like, I do not support sexual predators, but I still listen to Thriller all the time. You know what I mean? Like, you have to be honest. You gotta be honest. But we'd understand each other more. Like a guy just wearing a shirt that's like, I support the Second Amendment so I can go deer hunting every season with my son and his partner Christopher. You're like, all right, okay. Get where you're coming from. Seems reasonable. Seems like a reasonable guy. And we'd get along. Somebody accused me of not being patriotic recently. I'm a very patriotic person. But I'm very specific in my patriotism. I love my city. I love Philadelphia. I love my town. I'm very patriotic about Philadelphia. I love my city. Like, if you want to wave your flags, American flags, everything, that's great. That's wonderful. But if you're in my home, you better stand for the Action News theme song. Do you know what I mean? Move closer to the world, my friends. Take a little bit of time. There are 3 people on this earth that I would take a bullet for. My wife, Jim Gardner, and the Philly Fanatic. And that's it. Because I love my city. I'm a patriot. I'm a patriot. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, Lisa Thomas Laurie. No, okay. I just Do you ever see something so weird? It can't get out of your head. It just sticks in your head. If you ever see something so bizarre, it just sticks in your head for like a week. I saw this. I was walking down the street, and I was walking past this nail salon. And apparently, they do waxings at this nail salon, like hair removal for women. And the weird part was that there was a sign in the front window with a menu of all the types of waxings they do. And it just had all the prices. So it was like facial waxing, $10. Underarm, $17. And then at the bottom it said, bikini wax, $25 and up. And up is the part that got me. Because I've never had a bikini wax, but I'd have to assume it's a fairly awkward and embarrassing and delicate proposition as it is, let alone estimates and haggling? How does that go down? Like, what's a clerk come out to the waiting room with a jumpsuit and a clipboard? He's like, look, Mrs. Anderson, I know we quoted you at $25, but Jimmy just took a look at it. It's pretty banged up. I don't know what to tell you. Parts and labor loans should be at least 50. That can't be how that happens. There's no way that's... We'll get into it. We'll talk about it a little bit. My wife and I, we have sex sometimes because it's the law, and we're very boring when it comes to sex, and we're okay with that. We're very boring. Like for example, they say you're supposed to have sex in all these crazy different positions to make it more enjoyable. I've never gotten that through my thick skull, that you're supposed to do it in different positions to make it better. There's nothing else on earth where that's the case, where you have to do it in different positions to make it more enjoyable. Like, nobody's ever like, hey, try this sandwich. But this time, when you eat it, just lay on your side and put your foot up against the wall. It's gonna be so much more delicious. This sandwich. Just get on all fours. I'm not getting on all fours, sir. It's a sandwich. You're supposed to do dirty talk all the time. Like, I'm not a dirty talk kind of guy. Like, my version of dirty talk is if I'm speaking to a woman and I don't finish a sentence with, "my lady." Like, that's as filthy as I get. Like, you're supposed to say sexy things in the heat of passion. The only thing I ever say during the heat of passion is just stuff like, "well, back to the drawing board." You know, it's like never... It's never positive. There is one time where I do partake in dirty talk. It's never with my wife, but she's usually there. The only time I ever do dirty talk is if I'm eating at a diner. The dirty talk is always with the diner waitress. The diner waitress always starts the dirty talk, and she's always like 90 years old. And I always feel like I have to play along, and it makes me uncomfortable. And she always starts the dirty talk out nice and easy, but then ramps it up throughout the meal. Like, you come in, she's like, "hey, sweetie, here's your menu." And I'm like, "oh, thanks, dear," you know. She comes back a little later, she's like, "what can I get you, darling?" And I was like, "oh, I'll have the omelet, honey," you know. Comes back a few minutes later, she's like, "all right, baby, you want some more coffee?" And I'm like, "yeah, slut, give it to me. That's what I want." I don't like the way she talks to me. It's inappropriate. I'm a customer. It's not right. It's not right. Makes me feel uncomfortable. Here's my impression of a magician who has a day job as a coroner. Magician who has a day job as a coroner. Is this your son? All right, so that one... It's pretty accurate. What if I just left on that? I just like, well, that's weird. I'm a big Colt fan. I watch documentaries about Colts all the time. Yeah, they're great. They're wild. Colts are great because they're always great until they're not. Do you know what I mean? Like, at first you're like, this is pretty cool, and then something happens. There's a left-hand turn. There's a cult, you probably remember it, back in 1997. It's called Heaven's Gate, down in Southern California. The ones with the Nikes and all. They committed mass suicide because they thought they were going to jump on the back of a comet and it was going to take them to heaven. And they all did that, and then everybody back in 1997 made fun of them. We're like, how dumb is that? I can't believe they would do that. It's been 27 years. I think they were right. Like, maybe not about the comet part, but what have they really missed that was good in the last 27 years? It's just been disease and famine and terror and war. Like, what good things have they missed? They've missed Ted Lasso and Outcast. That's pretty much it. A Jason Sudeikis vehicle and Hey Ya. That's pretty much... It was 97. They saw Fargo and Happy Gilmore. They're like, we're out. They're like, I don't know. They have a point. Yeah, I'm not a big sports fan though. Not a big sports guy. I like my home teams, but I don't get wrapped up in it. Basketball is my least favorite of the big four. I don't like basketball that much, and it's my parents' fault. They ruined me on it because back when I was a little kid, they threw my brother and I into the old station wagon and drove us down to the old Spectrum in Philadelphia to go see the Harlem Globetrotters play basketball. And it was amazing. It was the greatest thing I've ever seen. I was like, oh my God, I love basketball. They're hilarious, they do amazing tricks, they're funny. I love basketball. And then 6 months later, they drove us back down to the Spectrum to see a 76ers game, and it was boring as shit. My first ever NBA game, the Bulls were in town. I saw Michael Jordan play Charles Barkley, two of the greatest players to ever play the game. At one point, Jordan dunks from the free throw line. 20,000 people go crazy. I was like, you're not even gonna try to pull the referee's pants down? This is bullshit. Get some confetti, 23. This is boring. But like I said, I've always been more of a music guy. I don't like... My friends are all huge sports fans. They go to every game. They know every player. They get season tickets. And there's nothing wrong with this. But all my friends have like 10 different jerseys of their favorite player, like with like their favorite quarterback or their favorite pitcher's name on the back. and they wear them all the time. And there's nothing wrong with it, but I've just never owned a jersey of my favorite player. I don't think I relate to athletes like that. I just don't have that killer instinct, and just like, I've never been a great athlete. I just think I relate to it. But my friends do it, and they always hound me, because like I said, I'm a music guy, and I go to concerts all the time. They're always hounding me, like, why do you spend all this money going to these concerts? Come to the games with us. The games are way more fun. And I was like, no, the games are not way more fun, and I can prove it with statistics. It's because 100% of the time I go to a concert, I come home from that concert happy. Every single time. If you think about it, statistically, 50% of the time, their team's gonna lose. That means half the time they pay good money to go to a game to go get drunk, and then nervous, and then sad. You never lose a concert. What happens at a concert? Your favorite band comes out on stage, they play all your favorite songs, then they go away for a minute, and then they come back out on stage and play your favorite song, and everybody goes home happy. I've never once in my life come home from a concert all pissed off, been like, I paid $300 to see Bruce Springsteen, but during the second set he blew out his knee and a Spin Doctors cover band came out and fucked everything up. It's always been a pleasant evening. I've always been a winner. I'm trying to be a better sports fan, because I have nieces and nephews and they're playing like Little League sports. So I'm trying to go and cheer them on and be the good uncle. And my one nephew is 8 years old, and he plays Pee-wee ice hockey. I don't know if you guys ever seen a Pee-wee ice hockey game. If you've never seen one, go tomorrow. It's the greatest game on. It's just these 70-pound, 7 and 8-year-old kids in big pads just banging into each other for an hour. It's the best. And I went to a game recently, and this really good team from out of town showed up, and it was totally mismatched. My nephew's team was just getting whooped. Like it was like 12-0 at one point. You just felt really bad. And my nephew's team's goalie was sick that day, so they just took another child and put him in all the goalie pads, and they're like, try your best, buddy. And of course his best wasn't good enough. It's 12-0. It's the third period. The game's almost over. There's another breakaway. 2-0. This 7-year-old is about to get scored on a 13th time. And you just feel awful. And the place is kind of quiet. There's only like 30 people in the whole arena. And as this 7-year-old, this child, is about to get scored on a 13th time, I just heard him scream from the back of his goalie mask. He just yelled, "You gotta be shitting me!" He was just so beaten down by life, and he had it, and he wasn't taking it anymore. And I was like, that's the jersey I want to wear. I want to buy that kid's jersey. I have never related to an athlete more in my life. That's what I want to wear from now on. I have a great family. I get along with my family really well. I get along with my parents really well. They're great people. I love them. They love me. Everything's great. Having said that, I could always tell that my mother has always had a little bit more respect for me than my father has. They both love me, but like she's got a little bit more respect for me than my dad does. And I can pinpoint the moment that happened, that divergence occurred. I was in second grade. And I was a good kid. I was this nervous little kid. I was a good student. And one day, my teacher told me I had to stay after school because my mom was coming in for a meeting. And all day I was like, oh my God, what did I do? And the teacher was like, go sit in the back and read a book. I'm going to talk to your mom. And of course, I'm just like eavesdropping the whole time. And the reason the teacher wanted to talk to my mom, because she wanted to tell her that I was doing very well in school. I was a great student. She thought I was very bright. And she wanted me tested for the gifted program. for the smart kids. Which, spoiler alert, I was tested. I made it into the gifted program. I went all through school in the gifted program, graduated with honors, went to a great college, graduated honors there, and now I'm telling jokes in a basement in an afternoon. So it all worked out. But as this teacher is telling my mother that her son is probably gifted, I could just see this look on my mom's face. I could just see it. She's like, oh my God, my son, my firstborn is bright. He's gonna go to college. He's gonna become a doctor or a lawyer. He's gonna do great things. My firstborn son. I could just see the pride in her face. She was beaming. And I was so excited, and the meeting's over, and we go home, and my mom's walking out of the school with me, and then we're holding hands, walking through the hallway of the school, and I could just tell she's so proud, and I'm just walking out of the school like, I'm a little genius, you know what I mean? I was like, so proud. And we had to drive home, but we had to stop at the grocery store on the way home. And so we stop at the grocery store, and my mom just lets me run loose, because I was 7, and it was the 80s, and that's what she did. So there's always 2 places that a child goes to in the grocery store. First, number 1, cereal aisle. You go right to the cereal aisle, you check out what's new, it's all bright and colorful, it's crazy, and then I go to the second place. Frozen foods, the ice cream aisle. Checking out all the popsicles, all the ice cream, and I'm just in there, there's nobody else in that frozen food aisle, I'm like looking at all the ice cream. And you know how in the frozen food aisle, there's 2 different types of freezers. There's like the glass front, sort of refrigerator door freezers, and then there's what I like to call the open casket freezers. Where you pay your respects to the frozen peas and the popsicles. And all that sort of condensation is coming up at you, you know, it's all creepy. So I, as a 7-year-old, was like looking in, I was like jacked up on the thing, like my stomach was on like the top of it, my little legs are kicking, I'm like looking down at all the ice cream. And then I looked further down past the ice cream, about 3/4 of the way down, towards the bottom of the freezer. On the inside was this little brace, it was this metal brace that went all across the front of it, inside. And I was looking at it, I was like, Because not to date myself, but a year or 2 before that, a movie came out that was the debate of every elementary school classroom for years. It's called A Christmas Story. There's a scene in The Christmas Story, if you remember, a child sticks his tongue to a frozen flagpole to see if it would stick. And in the movie, it stuck. But that was just the debate of every child for the next 2 years. Like, that's not real, that's real. And I had a moment to test it out. Because I'm gifted. I'm a scientist. I'm gonna try this out. So again, I'm like up on my stomach and I'm leaning in. And as that mist is coming up, I just stick my tongue to the metal bar. And it didn't stick. I'm kidding, it totally stuck. It totally stuck. Now here I am, all alone in the frozen food aisle with my tongue stuck to a metal bar. I was at a crossroads in my life. I knew I had 2 options. I could either scream bloody murder and have a clerk show up and he calls the manager and everybody shows up and the fire department comes and I'll be the laughingstock of my town for the rest of my life. Or I could do plan B, I would do what my father would tell me to do, which was suck it up and be a man. Because again, I was 7 and it was the 80s. And I was like, choice B. So I just steadied myself, took a deep breath, and yanked my head back. And I was free. And as my head was leaving that freezer in slow motion, through all the frozen peas and the popsicles, I just saw a little piece of my tongue left behind. Just some tongue meat down there. And I landed on my feet, and I looked around, and nobody was there. And I got away with it. So I ran, I found my mom, and she just looks at me, and she could tell I had this look on my face. She's like, what's wrong? And I just said, my tongue, it just blood just comes dropping down. And she's like, well, I guess we're going now. We just left the car and we went home. Luckily, I didn't have to go to the hospital or get stitches or anything. Ironically, she put ice on it. And for a couple of weeks, I just had a nice big scab on the tip of my tongue, but I got over it. But that night, when my dad got home from work, my mom had 2 things to tell him. And this is why my mother's always had a little bit more respect for me than my father. Because at that moment in 1985, I gave my mother a 20-minute window where she thought I was gifted. She had 20 minutes in her life that she thought I was intelligent and I was going to do great things until I pulled the rug out from under her. And my father never had that experience. Because my mother said 2 things. She's like, guess what your son did? He got his tongue stuck to the freezer at the grocery store. Also, his teacher thinks he's gifted. My dad's like, no, he's an idiot. And that's always the way he thought about it. And it's my mother's fault. You guys have been the best. Thank you guys so much for coming out. I really appreciate it. Then you shut up.